Now you've edited the house drawing, we can get into the accessories drawing and start adding some materials. So right now I'm in my accessories drawing, and here is my bookcase, and I'm going to add materials to that. So let's get define materials up. I'm going to use the same material that I used for the table in the previous video series, the Wood Red Exotic, and I'm going to attach this rather than assign it. So we need to go up and click on Attach and attach to the bookcase. And my bookcase is a group, so I should be able to just select it and data point. And it's decided not to play ball. Not a problem. Let's undo that. So wood selected, attach material, data point, data point. There we go. We have no light in the subject, but let me put the default lighting on and up the lighting a little bit. There. Now you can see that quite nicely. So there's my bookcase. Let's move on to the lamp now. Here's the standard lamp. So now I need to apply materials to this, but I need to apply two different materials. The base and the pole can have the gold metal reflective material, but the light pole I need to do a little differently. That must be translucent. So I need a new material for that. And you may have seen that in the house renovations file in the working files folder. Let's do the base and pole first. Let's make a selection set of that. Gold metal reflective is already set. Let's go and attach that to data point, data point. Now I won't see much difference because it's yellow anyway, so we'll assume that one's okay. Now we need a translucent glass. So I've made a new material here. And you would do exactly the same. Click on the House palette, click on New Materials, call it Translucent Glass, and enter the material definition that you see in that PDF file. Now the important things to note here is that the efficiency is rather high, but that's fine. This is translucent, a little different from regular material. We have no color, although you could add a color if you wanted, say, a greenish glass bowl or a bluish glass bowl as a feature. You could apply a small amount of color here. You don't want too much. Specular is fairly low. We don't really need this to be particularly specular. The light that we're going to apply to it will burn out most of the specular highlights. Same with reflect. The glass will reflect quite a bit, but we don't really care at this point. It's not significant. What is important though on the transparency tab is that we have opacity very low, meaning that most of the light will go through this material. So we only have 3% of the incoming light which is absorbed by the glass itself. So let's do exactly the same thing. Translucent glass is set. Click on the tool, select the bowl, and it will probably disappear from view completely. Not a problem. Let's fix that. Let's go and place a light. So we start the light. Going to place a point light. Pre-select a 100-watt incandescent. The name is point light, but you can give it a different name if you wish. And this one I want to be about 3 inches above. So I would normally snap to the center and wind it up a little bit here, and there's about 3 inches, and place it there. Reset, and out we go. So there's my point light sitting on top of the lamp standard, but we still can't see it. So just to make sure it's actually working, I'm going to do a rotate, and I'm going to rotate this way. So I'm looking down at the base. Going to place a fence around this whole thing. Yeah, that will do fine. And I'm going to render. So now we see the render. We see the base of the lamp. Looks a little strange because it's in draft mode. But here we see the translucent bowl for the light. And we're looking through that to the base and to the pole. So everything's working just fine. So that can go. Get rid of that. And that. Okay, everything's cool. We're working just fine. We can go back and make that an isometric. And we're all set. Now, just to sort of recap, you should have copied the table palette into this new Module 16 folder, as I asked, and changed its name to House Palette. But it should contain each of the 4 items that we used for the table set. If that worked, then that's exactly as it should be. If it didn't work, then you need to go back and check. If you remember, I asked you to save the palette files from the previous video set as external palette files. If you did that, then this should have worked just nicely. So the next thing to do is insert everything that we have into the house itself, and we'll do that in the next video.